Hey guys, this is the Encourager, Queen C no longer bound. Got a question for you. How many of you ever heard the phrase, African Americans are lazy, they just don't want to work? That was a big thing back in the day, and you hear it now. There's jobs everywhere, but African Americans don't want to work. Do you know who coined that phrase? Well, I got a video I need you to listen to. I'll be back.
Down who really started the Black Americans are lazy trope, and how that evil lying trope that's spread like an infection throughout the diaspora. Let's go ahead and roll that.
So I want to respond to this quickly because I need people to understand that one of the reasons that Jamaicans and other African diaspora people react to African Americans and talk about African Americans in a way they do is because this was taught to us by white America. This is part of what I'm studying now in my graduate program. When they first started to recruit people to come to work here, right, about 5 or 6 decades ago, they told them that the African Americans were lazy people and they did not want to work. Meanwhile, at that time, it was because they didn't want to pay African Americans more money. They wanted to give them slavery wages. But African Americans were trying to hold out for more pay. Instead of paying African Americans more, what they did was recruit black people from the Caribbean, at that time controlled by Britain. So it was very easy for them to convince Britain that, hey, send those people who are down there with no jobs to our country to work. And when they came here, the white farm owners and those agricultural people told them and ingrained in them that the reason that they have to come to work is because African Americans don't want a job. Right? They went back home and they carried the same message and told the people there. And so this is a trope that has been passed on for decades and decades, year after year, as more and more come. That is what they carry because that's what they have been told. Now, when you come and you live amongst African Americans, and if you really look into the history and look at the systemic racism, you'll know that is not true. But then you also realize how difficult it is when someone grew up and was taught a certain kind of saying or a certain kind of belief, it's very difficult to get it out of them. So I know that it is not true. I know that it's because people want decent wages for the work that they do. But yeah, it is absolutely true that a lot of Caribbean people, Jamaicans included, and other diaspora people have bought into this trope that African Americans are lazy.
So as you heard, as this sister broke it down, is that the white supremacist was upset that Black Americans wanted to be paid fairly. We did not want no slavery wages. We didn't want no low wages. So what the white supremacists decided to do was, I don't want to pay decent labor. Let me go it on and go to the Caribbean, that who is still, underneath the British, and let's bring them over here. And then when they come over here, they say, oh, well, see, we bringing y'all in because y'all work hard and they lazy. Well, the lazy was because we wanted to get paid. Just like we became lazy after we stopped working for free with slave labor. You understand? That's where this Black Americans are lazy trope comes from. The author of the Diaspora Wars, and it's not really a war, it's just a different ideologies that we have due to culture, the white supremacist throwing in his confusion. All this mess centers back to the white supremacists. And let me tell you something. People in the Caribbean didn't really grow up around us like that. I'm talking about people in the Caribbean. We didn't grow up around them. People on the African continent didn't grow up around us like that. We didn't grow up around them. You understand what I'm saying? The white supremacists, even when you talk about the African booty scratcher comment that they love to talk about so much, and I tell people, I was called African booty scratcher. And I was born here in America. I wasn't born over there. But you know who the author of that is? The white supremacists. Let me explain to you why. The white supremacists on National Geographic, any images that we saw of the African continent, it was always way deep in the village somewhere, no development, no anything. And they will show these tribes and all of that, and then these bugs that would be biting, the brothers and sisters, right? And then, of course, if the bugs are biting you on your butt, you're scratching it, right? Well, that's where that comes from. We did not put no images out there of African people in the village having bugs biting them and scratching themselves. Listen, if a bug bite me, I'm going to scratch myself too. mosquitoes, whatever. I mean, that's just normal. You're not going to sit there and have a mosquito biting you and it doesn't itch. Okay? Those images of the African continent of feed the children and the most dilapidated things, it came from them. It was no black Americans that went over to the continent at that time period, because we weren't in a position to film anything. So that image of poor, dilapidated, while a lot of black Americans are like, I don't want to be over there, man, forget that. When you see the images of feed the children and the bones of children and flies flying around them and the white people giving them rice and all that, in black America's mind, like, I don't want, oh, hell no. We ain't like that. But they're not showing you the other parts of it where nobody is, you know what I'm saying? It was all done by design. So we always have to remember the white supremacist is always the author of confusion within the black world. And unfortunately, some of us has picked that up and we ran with it, but the author of that confusion is the white supremacist. Yes, we talk about different mindsets that come over, across into America now, because we all have different cultures. You understand? We have things from slavery. They have things from colonization. You do have a raccoon class in black America. Yes, you do. Just as much you got a raccoon class in the Caribbean, and a raccoon class in the continent of Africa, and a raccoon class that's in Latin America among the Afro-Latinos. That is a given. We have that. No group is exempt from that. But we also got brothers and sisters who are about the right thing too. Brothers and sisters that want to unify, do the right thing. We have that all over. And that's the people that I will link up with. That's the people that I want to work with, unify, do business with, etc. So this, sister, our Jamaican sister here, my support goes out to her. Shout out to our sister and brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, who understand the white supremacists and what it is. And listen, they waking up too. They waking up to the lies of the white supremacists. They waking up. They understand and they seeing that, wait a minute, why in the hell are we still in a Commonwealth since his queen died? That's been waking up a lot of people now. And that's good. All Caribbean and African nations need to get out of the Commonwealth. What you need to be in that for? But this black Americans are lazy trope. It comes from the white supremacists. Because during slavery, we wasn't called lazy, were we? When we built America, we was only lazy when they couldn't have us enslaved anymore. That's when we became lazy. We were lazy when we demand fair wages for our work. That's when we became lazy. And also, let me tell you another thing. Now they have to pay Caribbean people right too. So you know what they're doing? All the people that's coming from Latin America, they're doing them the same thing they did to us. They're not paying them anything. They're mistreating them. Do you know recently they just caught them having a slavery ring in America with people from Latin America? Do you know that? They were paying them 20 cents for a bucket of onions. 20 cents. They weren't making nothing, sometimes but $1 or so a day. They were violating the women out there. They kept them in an area with trailers and electric fence. The feds just went busted them for a whole slavery ring. And my wife told me that a while back before that story come out. She said, oh, all them people that's coming across the border, that's their new slaves. That's why they're letting them in here like that. That's why they're doing what they're doing. And then that came out. They had a whole slavery ring. Because America do not want to pay equal and fair wages to nobody. So they rather people from developing nations who are suffering, and their countries are suffering because of the white supremacist policies that extracted their resources and pulled everything out. And those people have to come up here. They're not telling you that part of the story. But they want them to work for slavery wages. And then we as American citizens get upset sometime about immigrants, and say, why are they giving them all these resources? Oh, well, they're giving it to them because they want them to be the new slaves. That's what it is. And that's wrong. They're misusing them people. And then at the same time, they play a game like, hey, them people doing this to y'all, and look what we doing. And all that they do, people don't research. Look at all the money they're giving Ukraine. Why are people in America not raising hell about Ukraine? Why are they getting billions of dollars? Every time I look up, they're cutting checks, billions of dollars for Ukraine. But the same people, when you talk about reparations, oh, why should I have to pay reparations? Why should you have to pay for Ukraine? You had nothing to do with that either, right? But yeah, this is good. All these conversations is good because it's not no diaspora war. That's not what it is. It's not. Black America, the black people in the Caribbean, Africans, man, we just have different cultures, different ideologies. We're gonna work all that mess out. We'll be fine. These conversations have to be had. And one thing we gotta do is get rid of those lies, like black Americans are lazy. If black Americans are lazy, America wouldn't be the place to be. Correct? Because last time I checked, black America built America and helped innovate America with all the inventions that we came up with. All your lights I got on me right now, it wouldn't be for a black American. I sure would be in the dark, wouldn't I? There you go. But y'all let me know what y'all think about, our sister here, definitely just putting out the truth. And that's what we need. We need more of our Caribbean and African brothers and sisters exposing the lies of the devil.
Wow. Please let me know what you thought about that video. I am going to leave a link in the description box, and it will give you a list of stereotypes about us out there. It says stereotypes of African Americans grew as a natural consequence of both scientific racism and legal challenges to both their personhood and citizenship. It says in the 1857 Supreme Court case, Dred Scott versus John F. Sanford, Chief Justice Roger B. Taney dismissed the humanness of those of African descent. This legal precedent permitted the image of African Americans to be reduced to caricatures in popular culture. And so now, as you go down and you'll see decades old just stereotypes of what, including Mammy, Mandingo, Sapphire, Uncle Tom, Watermelon, have been formed by the legal and social status of African Americans. Many of the stereotypes created during the height of the transatlantic slave trade. And then we have here, for instance, an enslaved person forced under violence to work from sunrise to sunset could hardly be described as lazy. Yet laziness, as well as characteristics of submissiveness, backwardness, lewdness, treachery, and dishonesty, historically became stereotypes assigned to African Americans. We need to dispel these things. How do you do that? Again, you will hear me say over and over and over. Hosea 4:6 in the scripture said, "My people are destroyed due to a lack of knowledge." When we hear things about our brothers and our sisters, because we in America were told things about our sisters and brothers in different islands, and it made us not want to receive them here. And then they in turn were told things about us to make them not want to accept us here. Can we see the plot? The plot is divide and conquer. It hasn't stopped. We need to be aware of it. Our goal is unity, unity, unity. We must come together. We must see that we all bleed red. We must see that we need each other. We need to come together and unify. Unify to go against something? No. Stop bickering and biting against each other. Start loving each other. Start supporting each other. Start encouraging each other. Start supporting our black businesses and start supporting each other. I'm not saying grab arms and unify and go in the street and do a revolution. No, I don't have anything to do with that. But we can unify. We can respect each other. I can respect you, whether you're from Jamaica, you're from Africa, you're from here, you're from there. I don't care. I can respect you and you can respect me. We can learn to do that. We can learn to do that. It's okay. That's what God wants us to do. And we need to weed out all of these negative things. When we hear things negative about our brothers and our sisters, let's search it out. Who said that? Who told you that? Who started that? Where did it come from? Black people are trying to get better money, get better wages. So does that make you lazy? No. So I'm so glad that sister came forth and she shared that from her point of view. I really respect her. Please listen to Dr. Phil Scott. I'm going to leave his link in my description box. Also, the link to this website about the popular and pervasive stereotypes of African Americans. And, let's read and let's research. And they say when you know better, you'll do better. Hey, this is your girl, Queen C, the encourager. We'll see you right here next time.